Okay, today's presentation is HTML5 for the enterprise. I mentioned the enterprise because I like to. HTML5 is a very big standard, you know. So when I meant enterprise, it basically means a typical enterprise. If you're a Hollywood studio or you're a game developer, a game company, enterprise could mean different things for you. But I'm talking about the typical enterprise, which is a data-driven company. So the purpose is introduction in general for the related to HTML5 feature. Just a bit of background. My experience with HTML5 was not really. It's not something that I use every day. But I started when I was a couple of years ago when I was tasked to oversee a Chinese team in Beijing to transfer the UI-based framework to HTML5. So that's the time when I was paying more attention into the HTML5. But basically, I make sure that I know what is HTML5, even though you have not used that. So similarly, for you guys, it could be a good insight also, even though if you're not using HTML5. And there are some tactics that, even though you are supporting IE8, especially in our environment, how to make IE8 speak the language of HTML5 also. So today, there are about 40 slides, 40 plus slides. I don't think we can cover that because my experience tells me that anything beyond 1 hour, people will fall asleep. So let's try to finish at least half of the slides, like 20 slides. Huh? Yeah. Yeah, that's right. No, I mean, generally the experience is that over one hour, the attention is not really that focused anymore. Yeah. So let's try to finish the first part. So let's talk about the scope. The scope is we are talking, as I mentioned, we are presenting only the enterprise-related features. Okay. It's equally applicable for the mobile browsers also, but focusing on the desktop. We do not cover like animations, like canvas, graphics, all those things. Maybe CSS, just a bit, but not too much. CSS3 is part of the HTML5, but that itself deserves a different topic, a separate topic for that. We also do not talk about advanced features like web RTP. Okay. Let's be clear with the definition first, even though it's very obvious, but I don't want to make any assumption. When we say HTML5 markup, right, we mean this whole thing. Okay. And HTML element is this thing. In this case, it's ing with a bracket, left and right, the arrow. And when you say HTML tag, you mean this portion. This is the tag. And then this is the attribute. Okay? The two attributes in this case related to this tag. So just want to be on the same page about what is the terminology. Conventions in many slides. It's good to know that which feature is applicable to which browser. And basically, the top right corner, if you see all these browsers, that means you support all the browsers. If there's a special browser that does not support that feature, it will be a cross. And then if there's a special mention about our friend, i.e., there will be a version there. So this is the naming convention moving forward. Okay. So HTML5 in general is, when you talk about HTML5, you generally, when HTML5 is started, people thought that, oh, okay, HTML5 is extra tag, right? Like video tag or maybe audio tag. No, it's beyond than that. And also, people like to bring in some other specification which is not really related to HTML5, like local storage, and script, of course, different capability of that, CSS3, Theoretically, they are not really HTML5, some of the standards. Okay, so what is HTML5? So it looks like I'm the one who is probably falling asleep. But I didn't eat anything, I didn't eat anything, so too much sugar or something. Or maybe I'm fat. But anyway, whatever. We'll still keep in touch, right? Muti, right? HTML5 is HTML5, obviously, including the markup and CSS3. And also another thing is, when you talk about HTML5, generally you also talk about Markup 5.0. Okay. Any concerns when you are working on the HTML5? Theoretically, no. If you know what to use, you know the limitations. No, but there are some things that you need to be aware of. If you really want to support like IE6, IE8 probably you're okay, but IE6 or IE7 then will be more work for you. So you can start to use it today if you want. So what's new? Basic structural changes and additions like nav, NAV, section, whatever. We'll mention a bit. We'll talk a bit about it later. Canvas tag. Canvas allow you to do a 2D graphics. You can just draw things easily. Provide some 2D coordinates. You can draw stuff. No, I don't think they have 3D standard. No, they don't have that. Only Canvas 2D. Maybe have V-index or something, but I don't consider that as 3D. SVG tag, which is a higher level abstraction. 2D is always API level. SVG you can massage the graphics or chart as objects. Okay? Yeah. But basically you're dealing objects versus in Canvas you're talking about the method, a pencil, something like that, drawing things. But SVG are objects. Video tag, obviously. Why you only use video tag? Because you want to avoid flash. Our fancy job do not like flash, So whatever. That's not the main reason, but that's one of the reasons. Geolocation. You can detect your browser user when they connect to your website. You can really without using Google service or something, you can detect where they are located up to the pinpoint XYZ if you want to. App cache. App cache is like application cache, obviously. That's what it's stands for. It's better than cookie because it is much larger. In the past, cookie has a lot of limitation and whatever. That does not mean that it is much more insecurity. Anything that you store on the client side, you have to be worried. If you really want to protect or encrypt, forget it. Just don't try to put it at the client side. But app cache allow you to cache assets like images or static HTML easily. Okay. Much better than cookie. And for IE9, some part of when I say IE9 here with aesthetic, I mean some part of it. Okay. In app cache, it's not even support for IE9, IE10 above only.
And all the other browsers, right?
And all the other browsers, yeah. It's always our friend IE, But credit where credit is due. IE has to suffer so many revolutions, fighting the war with Netscape, They have a lot of legacy to support. So they cannot catch up with some of the browsers as fast. Like Chrome especially, they start from ground up. Even though IE9 starts from ground up, they still have to support some of the browser in emulation mode. IE6, IE7, IE8. So it's a tough job. So issues always come with IE, and also corporation cannot catch up easily, whatever. Database also, in HTML5, there are much better database support. Database means the database in the browser. Okay, and you have a file API, file access, everything. It's not in the memory anymore, and it's better than the cookie. There are four types of database session storage. Support in 8 and above. Session storage is a key value pair. You put certain key, you retrieve it with that key. Local storage is probably the same thing. Web SQL is a really SQL-like base. You can do a JDBC if you want, not JDBC, a SQL in a browser. And IndexedDB is NoSQL. NoSQL is like just very popular nowadays. That it's not key. It's probably a key value pair, but the structure is a bit different from the session and local storage. And all the browsers support all these things except web SQL, you have to be careful. SQLite, for some reason, IE does not support yet. Not even in IE 11. IE 12 probably, I don't know. That's why there's a question mark here. If you want to use, if you don't want to use any third party, they call it shim or shift. Okay, you don't want to use any plugin, anything that make your browser HTML5. You are safe to, your best bet is to use IndexedDB. Because almost everyone support that, including IE, but only IE can enable. Web worker, as you know, the browser, every time when you render a DOM element and everything, it's sequential. Okay? That's why if you don't use other technologies, asynchronous mode to load your JavaScript, like require.js, code.js, whatever JS, a lot of JS, right? you have to, if you have a lot of DOM to render, you always want to put your JavaScript at the end because of that. Why? Because it gives people a perception that your page render fast. Your page appears first before you finish loading all your JavaScript. And this web worker is it's not really solving the issue. Web worker allow you to do multi-threading in the browser itself. If you want you have some CPU intensive operation in your browser, you can before you do that CPU intensive calculation or whatever, it's very application specific. You can spawn the web worker and say do this thing, and call a certain function back, and you're done. So web worker is a cool feature of the HTML5. Am I too fast? You have any questions so far?
I have a question on the database.
Database.
Is it local to the machine?
It's local to the machine. There's no username and password or something if you're talking about that. Once it is loaded, you have full access to create the file.
So we can load something and we can go and pick up the data.
If you rule out the combination. That's why I'm saying that security-wise, if you want a secure storage, server side is still the way to go. Not this storage. This storage is to cater for performance, offline browsing, all the, it's not meant to store a very secure data. So that's the database. But app cache is not mature also, even right now. We'll talk more about in other slides. So HTML5 markup element. What is new in the markup is you only want to interested in markup. You have a header, you have a nav, footer, article section, other things, and the green one normally is maybe multimedia related. This blue one is to structure your element a bit better instead of depending on div, span. You can use all these things, and you can look it up yourself. But basically, like footer, obviously, footer. The section is kind of like replacing the div, and nav is for the navigation. If you have a navigation bar, you can use nav. But by putting this alone, it's not going to make it beautiful or make it the way you like. You still have to use CSS to style it.
So, could this help with the 508 if you just show everything that's navigational in nav, then you don't have to manually kind of skip nav that goes from here to here? You can just easier to ignore now?
You could use that, or you could use CSS. CSS3 has this, they call it pseudo class. If you're going to talk later, I can mention about it right now. So you could say that for this first paragraph, first P, you can insert this skip navigation. Okay, you can say that P semicolon default. And then you can specify content that includes the skip navigation hyperlink. And then automatically, every time when you render your DOM, you don't even need to write any code in there because your style sheet, the CSS, will put all these skip navigation automatically. So
that might counter the whole 508 stuff.
Yeah, because a lot of those cost the whole style sheet.
Cost the whole style sheet.
And reimpose their own that's compatible with their renderer.
Style sheet, so you're talking about you already have existing style sheet, you don't know how to
these
style.
readers, what they do is they're for blind people.
Oh.
And they don't actually display the page at all. They don't care about how the page looks, because it's literally for blind people.
Mm-hmm.
And what we need to do is we need to make sure that when they get to a specific section, the reader will work.
Mm.
So what we do now is we have a bunch of these skip navs where it goes from one place to another place appropriately in the reader.
Mm.
So nav tab give enough information for the reader to be able to find the various data. You wouldn't want to do that in CSS because then the reader's got to understand CSS.
Yeah, it depends. If like a reader like Jaw can understand HTML tag, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because the approach that I thought about just now is only for browser. Dynamically inserting the new content, the reader might not see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we have to keep that in mind, which is something that other people wouldn't. But that being said, the nav tag might really solve a lot of our problems on 508 compliance when it comes to skip nav. That's one of the maps you're part of trying to make sure you're 508 compliant.
Yeah.
Sounds like anchors and now anything other sections of development, is it different than anchor?
Do you mean the town, the anchor?
Yeah.
Town is there for a while, right? I mean, there's nothing new in it. Yeah.
Does nav replace or is it in any way similar to anchor tag?
No.
Okay.
It's just to present a high level structure that individually you still can put like a bookmark or anchor or whatever, but nav is a high level to classify all the elements as a potentially navigation element.
See, that's perfect for a reader. So it knows to go to this nav and this nav, then you can go and say I want to go to the third nav, and it'll go and read the data from there.
Yeah, you can go to the nav, you can specify you want to go to which section, something like that.
So we should do some research on nav and 508.
Okay. First line in HTML5, if you notice that if it is a new HTML5, you notice that it is simplified. It is no longer 4.0.1 blah blah blah, it's like 20 characters. So, and by specification, this is not case sensitive. However, I do notice that even the specification says that it is optional, but it's good to put because our friend, i.e., if you don't put that, it will get confused with it. So it is always good to put this line, and it's not going to break anything. Okay? What else? And this tag, be careful. If you put it below IE10, it will not understand. Okay? Optional text. What is optional in HTML5? Surprisingly, HTML tag. That means you don't even need to write HTML tag. You don't even need to write head and body. Okay, if you want. But for, in my humble opinion, it's still always good to write that for the maintenance or for the readability. Minimal HTML tag. So like I mentioned, those things are optional. So the first thing is the first line is optional, but because of IE, it's good to have. And then the method class set UTF-8. This is part of the security issue that if you guys are not aware of that or forgot, it's always good to tell the browser you want specific encoding.
You don't have to put the quotes after the equals.
Yeah. That I will discuss another one. You don't in HTML5 you do not have to put any more, but there are always a catch. If you have a space or something, no. You still have to put. Okay? What else?
You can always put, so why not just always put it there?
Yeah, why not you just always put? I'm just telling if you don't want to do it, but it's always good practice to put it. I'm just doing myself to tell you what is specification and what is good practice. That's totally different thing. What else? Okay, so deja vu. So those things, all attributes are optional. The enclosing, the single colon or double colon are optional now. Okay, You can check more by going to this site here, but basically it still suggests that we put it. You know, there is probably there is some reason why they allow this, but you know, good to put it for whatever reason. You know, some of these are rendered differently, slightly from browser to browser. Who knows? You know, I don't specifically me. I can never remember. So it's always good to put so that there's no doubt on that. Okay. What is new meta tag then? This is a new way. Okay, you can start using now. And I think IE also will work, but if it does not work, this is the traditional way to do it. You have to put this content type, you know, and the content. This is content. I forgot what is this, HTTP equivalent or something. Content type, obviously, but this is the way to go for HTML5. Shorten. HG group. Personally, I have not used this before, but do not use it anymore because HTML4 does not support this anymore. If you want to do more, you can just go to this W3C site and /tab. Yeah, I have not used that. Yeah, it's not on table. But
I do another way.
So don't use that anymore. HTML5 CSS reference. The same for the JavaScript. You know, it is assumed that when you want to refer to style sheet, it is it is a style sheet. So you don't have to mention about type equal to text / CSS anymore. Okay, you see that's missing here. The only thing you need to specify is href equal to the link. I mean not the link, but the relative type, which is style sheet. CSS3. CSS3 now has been divided into modules. Okay, every module has different stability and status. I have not used modules before. You can maybe there's some of you guys can do more research on that. Support many more browsers than CSS2. So if you use CSS3, in theory you support more browsers. Added new features like combinator. Combinator is the simplest one. Is like you have E space F. The F is the child of the tag E, and you can in HTML5 CSS3 you can do E arrow F. F is a direct child of E, something like that. Okay. CSS selectors are more powerful. You know, including in jQuery you do $ bracket something, much more selectors for you to choose. I forgot what is it. Okay, pseudo element is quite powerful. In HTML5 pseudo elements, if you guys remember, hyperlink A:hover, you know, A:hover. When you hover on top of the hyperlink and you do something, okay, that is one type of the pseudo element. And in HTML5, they have a couple of new things like colon before, colon after, colon first child, colon some other thing. So check it out. It's very powerful if you want to save some effort. So if you have another thing is let's say you have a form input type. Some of them are required. You can put required, but that's not pseudo element. And then your type equal to email. Okay. And if the type is email, HTML5 only. Okay. If the user type not an email, it's invalid. You can say that input colon invalid. You can in a spreadsheet. You can not spreadsheet. CSS style sheet. You can say that background color equal to red. By just doing two lines of CSS3, you do that coloring. No JavaScript or jQuery involved. So you can check out the pseudo element. New style properties also. Okay. Okay. So JavaScript is the only language in the HTML nowadays. No need to mention, And everyone knows that Markup 5, they are still working on Markup 6, which might include the AngularJS as part of it and the require.js. Some other things you guys check out yourself, but Markup 5 is whatever JavaScript browser, if you have some weird behavior, check out the Markup 5. So, it's only half an hour, so I think that's about it for this part 1 of the HTML5. Any questions? We'll continue for the next one, for part 2 of the HTML5.
Sounds good. Anybody have any questions about anything? No.